Someone is watching in the woods. Published by Mr. Horror, this short clip shows a group hanging out in the forest and what looks like the ruins of an abandoned structure. As the camera turns from the surrounding trees to the building, it captures something creeping around the door frame. The mysterious figure is but a flash, and its features are indistinct. It quickly pulls out of view. The cameraman hurries forward, revealing a campfire built outside to the right, but it looks like the creature is long gone. What was it? Are they being stalked by the unknown? It sure looks that way to me. This ghost hunter is wandering down the hallway of an abandoned building when he sees this.
مين انت؟ انت مين؟
Published by Hassan Barbar in June of 2021, something is sitting behind that door at the edge of the hallway, and I'm pretty sure it's a djinn. The door bursts open to reveal that it is indeed one of the cloaked creatures of myth.
انت مين؟
Although the djinn does not move, the door keeps slamming shut and bouncing open again. This goes on for a long while, and finally the djinn makes a move.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Bismillah. Bismillah.
He disappears behind the shut door. Hassan approaches, and when he slams the door open and enters the room, he finds the djinn has vanished. As he looks for him, it seems like he is pushed from behind.
Bismillah.
Then in another room, objects are being smashed.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. وانا مش عارف شو البكي قاعد بيصير صراحة. بسم الله.
Will Hassan find the djinn again before it's too late?
حاسس في شيء وراي يا اخوان.
This YouTuber is exploring a scary abandoned place in India when their adventure goes wrong at 6 minutes and 30 seconds.
நம்ம ஓபன் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்க டைம்ல நம்ம விக்கி கிட்ட கேட்போம். விக்கி விக்கி வாங்க.
It looks like a real ghost sighting at first, but somebody walks right in front of a light, so that could be what's making the shadow figure appear. Still, it's bizarre enough to make them leave, and when they look back, they see a ghost in the window. The light passes by the window one time, doubles back, and there it is, another ghost sighting. Look again though, and you'll see it was actually standing in the window the entire time. This could be a shadow person, a djinn, or one of their friends wearing a cloak. They claim it was a ghost, but I'm not sure. Dr. Lost Syndrome published this video in May of 2014 writing, a little short video where Masky gets some payback for the taggers ruining his hideout. The video follows a pair of teenagers in what looks to be an abandoned building in the wilderness. The building is full of graffiti, and one of the lads starts spraying some more over top of it. That's when they hear this strange noise. The first time they hear it, they brush it off. The second time, they start to wonder what's up. The camera is passed off to the dude, while the girl continues spraying in the room. The man heads outside looking around the area and shouting hello.
Hello?
When there's no response, the two pass off the camera again, and then again, as the girl goes to check if there's anyone out there, while the man continues spray painting. After painting a bit, the man scans the graffiti in the room. That's when he arrives at the door to find Masky outlined in the doorway. The masked man charges him and knocks him to the ground. It appears the man is knocked out cold. What is unclear is what Masky did with his body. Masky's revenge is certainly not something you would want to think about as you fall asleep at night. And trust me on that one. The YouTube team Ouija Brothers had to end their investigation after this paranormal encounter. They arrive at the abandoned place to find it destroyed.
Oh man, nah, look at
Look
it.
at that.
Look at the windows all on the top.
Oh no,
They've smashed all the windows on the top.
they smashed some bottom windows, look.
I opened up all the doors, which is handy for us.
Once inside, they attempt to communicate with the spirits, and in doing so, they hear a voice.
And that can be now.
Your phone just said something, didn't it?
Here it is again.
And that can be now.
Your phone just said something, didn't it?
And they keep hearing voices, although these aren't being picked up by their audio.
Hello?
I can hear. Hold on. Can you hear the voices?
Upstairs, he has a strange encounter that freaks him out.
Could you do something else but closer and inside this room, please?
Here it is again from another angle.
Could you do something else but closer and inside this room, please? Oh man.
What do you think buzzed past him? Was it just a bug, as some in the comments suspect, or something of the paranormal variety? Considering the voices they heard earlier, I think he was actually feeling the buzz of paranormal energy. An abandoned home with a tragic past turned into ritual grounds for secret groups? Sounds like a recipe for disaster. Published to YouTube by Steve Ronan in September of 2020. This paranormal investigation looks inside the Devil's Home, as it's so called. According to Ronan, this millionaire's mansion was built in the 90s, but the family who was to live here passed away before it was finished. First off, although it's an abandoned mansion, the power is still on. While wandering the house, they hear disembodied voices, but it's this pentagram in one of the rooms that gives them pause.
Is that a REM pod?
They place an REM pod in the middle and it goes wild. Is something nefarious at home here? It certainly seems so. Here's a bit of universal advice that applies to everyone, no matter which country you're in. If you and your friends are thinking about exploring some creepy haunted abandoned places, just don't. It could save your life. This YouTuber went exploring these abandoned houses in Egypt and caught some scary stuff on camera that left him and his friends running for their lives. The group has a bad feeling and should have left early, but they keep exploring because no one wants the shame that comes with being the most scared. They're looking for a way into this house but never get the chance.
صح كده خاف استطلع طب قاعدة كده في المكان اختفى ولا ايه؟ بص يا جدعان كده هنا الشاب بصح حد انور عليه نور عليه
They still can't believe what they are seeing, so they take one last final look. The figure is still there and they're still scared. When hiding in a field doesn't work, they decide to run deeper into the forest. Their plan works and they vow never to return to this area again, and for good reason. I don't know if there really was someone who they didn't know living in this place, or if it was just one of their friends. It's probably a skit though, because of how slow the person chasing them walks. Exploring an abandoned, secret nuclear bunker designed for NATO headquarters? What could go wrong? That's what the crew from YouTube channel Broken Window Theory did in November of 2020. The team explains a bit about the video, writing, "In the belly of a mountain, we found this secret NATO bunker at an undisclosed location, hard to find, and even harder to enter. Naturally, the team considers it the ideal place to get trapped, as they dive right into the belly of the beast. The bunker is located in southern Italy. They arrive at the entrance, an unobtrusive cement block which they pull up to reveal the tunnel that they climb down into. The secret bunker was dug right into the side of the mountain and stretches several kilometers. As they walk deeper and deeper into the mountain, it gets colder by the minute. 200 or 300 people were stationed here in the darkness when it was active. Now, only moldy furniture and rusted pipes remain. They arrive at the fallout door, which looks creepy and foreboding in and of itself. Later, they come across a control room, as well as lists of aircraft and maps still pinned to the walls. When they come to the water reservoir, they toss a few rocks in to test the echo, which seems never ending. The echo sounds even more ominous a few moments later, almost like someone singing. After exploring a bit further, they finally climb out of the bunker and back into the 21st century. Although this bunker is a pretty epic urban exploration, it's lucky it was never made necessary, otherwise the 21st century may not exist. In this ghost investing collaboration, members of the Holy Walkers, Urban Ghost Urban Explorations, and 539 Productions team up to check out some abandoned properties in the woods at night. They are close friends, and so it becomes a lighthearted exploration full of laughs, but they do miss two things. One of them happens during a passing moment of silence.
You can see a Joe in his native environment.
I don't know what that is, but I do know it sounds large and close by, and during this exact moment appears two green eyes that look like they could be leaves at first, except they aren't touching the tree next to it, and they aren't pine needles like the rest. Believe it or not, the same face appears behind a screen window exactly 5 minutes and 10 seconds later, so I don't think they necessarily found a ghost, but something was probably out there with them, and if they ever return, they might be unlucky enough to find it again, and next time it might do more than just watch. Don't watch this video alone at night, warns a YouTube channel called Real Ghost Official. He must not know how brave the average Chills fan is after years of watching scary videos. Anyway, he's exploring some abandoned places in India when a startling discovery is made. Caught on camera is a pale, puzzling, wispy figure. A strange light that disappears into the dark without a trace. If there is a road behind him, then this could be the headlights of an oncoming car playing across the wall. Still, I will admit it is quite bizarre to have a light anomaly suddenly appear in such an extraordinarily spooky location, so a ghost sighting is not out of the question. If only he would have turned around, we would know for sure if this is from a car or not. However, turning around is the last thing you would do if you thought of an apparition in front of you. While exploring the Broken Bow Asylum alone, YouTuber Haunt Row TV captures this creepy message on the wall. And then they hear a spirit's voice. Listen closely. Although the voice is faint, I do hear it. The other noises are much louder and without explanation. What do you think is here? I think it's a trapped soul. This jinn has a sense of humor. Published by Hassan Barbar in May of 2022, the paranormal explorer is in this abandoned place when a jinn alerts him to his presence, yet he does not appear. As the unseen makes more noise,
Bismillah.
Hassan follows the sound, then the thing starts to laugh. Or is this a laugh?
طب إذا أنت هون تعال لي
طلع اخش جيب اليوم جابنا.
The noise continues, leading him around this empty maze. Soon it sounds like it's breaking something apart, and then that unnerving laughter again.
هو المكان كبير بصدر الصوت من هون أو من هون مش عارف.
Where is it coming from? The jinn speaks to him, but what does he want? We may never know.
مش عارف. اطلع. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق.
A YouTuber named Spectral Wolfpack Paranormal is checking out an abandoned house in Tennessee that's covered in occult graffiti. It's an unsettling sight for sure, but there's an audio portion of this video that has people talking. No less than 5 people thought they heard something during this part. Let me know if you hear it.
The entrance to hell. The hell.
As soon as he says that this is the entrance to the underworld, some people claim they hear a voice that says stay. I think it sounds like leaves rustling under his shoe as he takes a step back, but let me know if you heard the noise and what you think it was.
The entrance to hell. The entrance to hell.
Theme parks are supposed to be fun and games, not the thing nightmares are made of. This Mr. Blobby theme park is a whole other story. Chugging along in the 90s, you may or may not recall this yellow and pink blob. Crinkly Bottom was Noel Edmonds' series of theme parks that popped up in England during the show's success, with one in Somerset, another in the north of England, and others scattered around the country, none of which lasted long. Why? Well, watch this video and you'll see. Not only were people unimpressed with the park's puppet shows and Blobby's kitschy catchphrases, Blobby's done blobbin' home is like walking through an uncanny nightmare. The seriously disturbing park, marketed as a children's attraction, is more like a scene from a horror film. With distorted audio, Blobby welcomes you, but who wants to be welcomed to this chilling park? The theme of this park must have been, we will haunt your dreams. Footage from this frightening theme park will leave you reeling, and not in a good way. A Nepali YouTube channel named Anish Gurung TV are not full-time ghost investigators, but they do have some paranormal investigation videos in abandoned places that get pretty creepy. An apparition seems to follow them on one of their urban explorations. This is when they first hear it. I want to say that this is the wind, but it's a calm night and this sounds way too much like a haunting moan. They reach the top and look around, feeling the presence of a ghost near them at all times. There's nowhere else left to explore, so they go back to the bottom and are about to leave when they hear it again twice.
Wait.
What?
What?
But I've saved the best paranormal evidence for last. At 4 minutes and 20 seconds, they capture these eyes and a sigh from behind. They didn't hear or see it at the time, but like I said in the beginning, they're not professional ghost investigators and missed some of the scariest things caught on camera. YouTube team Amitav Paranormal Tech YT explore this abandoned place when they capture a spirit manifesting on camera. Upon entering, they hear a banging sound. This is followed by a door closing. More racket is heard as the REM pod goes off. As they stand in the darkness, the banging continues. Not long after, a spirit manifests on this infrared camera. The cameraman leaves the cell, and when he tries to re-enter, he finds he's no longer welcome. In fact, no one is welcome.
Calma, gente, calma, menina. Galera, a gente viu o negócio arrastando ali, cara. Vou lá ver. Cara, vai devagar, não.
When they do not leave, the spirit doesn't let up.
Ele tá lá na cela, cara. Tem coragem de ir lá. Tá frio. Calma, amigos, a gente só veio pra conversar.
It has one last scare for the crew, and this one sends them packing. I'll be honest, I'm not sure how they stuck around this long. This place is certainly haunted, and they're lucky to make it out alive. This creepy abandoned house is one of the most haunted places in the UK, and you're about to find out why. YouTube team The Ouija Brothers investigate. As they approach the home, they think someone is there.
Thought I seen something up in the top window then.
You might have,
Oh god.
because the door's locked.
That's it.
I honestly thought I seen something up in the window.
They continue inside, and Carl thinks he sees something.
Whoa! What? Car.
No. Really? Run.
Just says run on mine.
That message is chilling. In another hallway, they hear two distinct taps.
Cough.
They hear another unexplained noise next.
You hear that?
I didn't.
It's okay.
In your room?
Just in front of me, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, I didn't make a noise. I'll check back on that.
And another.
Oh, snap. Is that you?
It weren't me. It sounded like something coming from a cupboard.
I was like, or?
I'm not sure if any of this was actual proof that the place is haunted, but I do think these mysterious sounds, coupled with what the guys saw here, may warrant further investigation. A YouTuber named Lou Rock is live streaming from a supposedly haunted location, known only as the Yellow House. He and his friend are cautiously poking around the abandoned building when a faint noise sends them running directly into a large room to investigate. The room is bare except for an inordinate number of gnarled clothes hangers in the closet, which begin twisting in unison, almost as if in acknowledgement of their presence.
There's not a window open in here. Wow.
This is on live stream, so you can see for yourself at no point did they touch the hangers. I think the hangers really are being moved by an unseen force based on what I'm about to show you next. As you can see from this video, there is no wind moving the blinds or curtains at all, so it couldn't have been a draft moving the hangers. They continue to find more weird miscellaneous objects scattered around the house, including a rope tied to a ripped kid's shoe.
It looks like somebody was hung up by their feet.
Giant holes have been punched into the wall of this room, either from destructive teens or from the previous house owner during an aggressive fit of rage. Just as they are sensing something deeply wrong with the kitchen, something brings them back into the room with blown out walls.
Yeah, me too. What's that?
They are genuinely creeped out by now and don't make it much further before the sound returns again.
Alright, we're out of here.
At this point, Lou Rock wisely decides to leave before he becomes the Yellow House's next permanent resident. A YouTuber named Nugget Noggin is exploring an old abandoned home one evening somewhere in the deep south. He's been here only once before, and it gave him such a strange and foreboding feeling that he couldn't take it anymore and he had to leave. Now he's mustered up enough courage to come back and check out the rest of the house. He wants to get up to the second floor.
Alright, I got this little door here to keep the air from rising up, I reckon. I don't know. Could be somebody up there. Oh man, somebody's standing on it. Cause I sure can't lift it up.
Much to his dismay, he finds a door has been laid over the top of the stairway so that nobody can get through. He tries to push on the horizontal door. One moment, it feels as if a heavy force is standing on top of it, and the next moment, the weight is suddenly gone, and Nugget Noggin can get upstairs. Some rooms give him the same weird feeling that made him flee before. He remembers that the front door was kicked in. Possibly someone broke in. Maybe a family was living here long ago, and things did not end well for them.
Won't be able to sleep. Look, there's a light on in there. That's odd. There's a mirror. You know what time it is?
Nugget Noggin doesn't find much else and leaves. When he's reviewing the footage, however, he does notice what could be the face of a small girl. Take a look at this picture and tell me if it looks like anything paranormal to you. This exploration of an abandoned mansion didn't go as planned. A French YouTuber shares this scary video of a very creepy place. As they light some candles, they appear to scare themselves.
Et sur son image, des cendres d'un hérétique, vous...
Attends, mais y'a rien là.
Les gars, on a trouvé... Je suis en train de faire crever la page, on a trouvé des cendres.
In another room, something similar happens, but it's not clear if they're scaring each other or something external is scaring them.
Y'a un gars qui arrive.
Non, non, je déconne même pas.
As they enter one of the rooms, one of the team appears to be thrown back by an invisible force.
Tiens, un truc.
What was down that hallway looks to me like only darkness.
Grave, monsieur, pas de soucis, bonjour.
While this place does give off the creepiest of vibes, this team isn't taking anything seriously. So it's hard to tell if the mansion is really haunted, and the crew's fear manifests in jokes and laughter, or if it's not haunted at all. What do you think? I'd like to see this place for myself to decide. While in this abandoned house, YouTube team Nerve Paranormal witnesses the paranormal, and the spirits here want to play ball. Watch the blue ball in the bottom left corner.
Yes, kom daar. Sluk een bit.
As they're listening back to a recording, Tim hears something in the darkness. I can definitely hear something moving. It sounds like it's coming from another room. When they later investigate, they hear footsteps behind them. And a light swings overhead. Later, as they're trying to connect with the spirits at the bottom of the stairs, something is thrown at them. Dennis and Tim want answers, but it seems to me like the ghosts just want to play. Would you play with them? I think I'd pass. While exploring an abandoned paper mill, the crew from YouTube channel Blow6 captured two mysterious events simultaneously, an EVP and an apparition. To me, the apparition is clear as day. You see it emerge from the right to the center of the screen, as if it's drifting down the tunnel, but the EVP is not as clear. It sounds like a bird cawing. That's not the only mysterious thing about this clip. I also noticed a strange flicker in the light at the beginning of the video. Watch the backlight closely. Was that a camera glitch? Or is some entity fiddling with the light switch? I think this phantom is up to something. A woman suddenly disappeared from this home without a trace. Her car is still in the garage. YouTuber Adrian Urbex searches the home to see what clues he might find. When he arrives, he finds the front door and window wide open.
Y a quelqu'un? Eh oh?
He receives no response, so he enters. Once inside, he finds these mysterious markings.
C'est quoi ça?
And it looks like someone broke into this room with force.
D'accord.
He then comes across this ultra creepy doll.
Ça c'est glauque. Hyper glauque. Je sais pas ce qui lui est arrivé, on dirait qu'il a été éventré. Oh, regardez.
And he hears an unknown background noise.
Il y a un bruit. Il y a une espèce de bruit de fond. Je sais pas ce que c'est. Peut-être quelque chose qui coule.
After a while, he thinks it may be electric, but the lights aren't working.
Je vous jure, il y a vraiment un bruit de fond. Et c'est pas un bruit d'eau, on dirait un bruit électrique. Je vais peut-être tester. Non.
Adrian never does find out what that noise is. Could it be linked to the woman's disappearance? I don't think we'll ever know for sure, but what I do know is I get a very eerie feeling from this place. Exploring abandoned places is supposed to be an adventure, but it can also lead to some unexpected encounters. YouTube channel Explore Abandoned Places with Tattoo Tony Alton published this video in October of 2016 writing, "We ran into 4 very strange people and were surprised while exploring. 2 that I got really bad vibes from. They seem like they may be wanted and running from the police. The school does look pretty creepy from the outside, and when you enter, the eeriness heightens. The place looks like a haunted house, graffiti lining the walls, broken windows, loads of decay and rubble on the ground." Early on in the video, Tony notes that this guy wouldn't stay out of his camera shots. About 20 minutes into the video, Tony comes across 4 men and quickly turns the camera away from them, so they don't grow angry or suspicious of his motives. While the entire encounter isn't shown, at the end of the video, Tony describes the men and explains what happened off camera. He says that 2 looked harmless, one was an old man, pockmarked and crazy, and the last guy was younger, shifty and acting strange. 2 of the dudes kept inviting Tony downstairs to see some cool stuff, but he got a bad vibe from them and was worried about getting his equipment taken. The weirdest thing was one offered to babysit his kids whenever Tony wants to go exploring. More than a little creepy. It is said that evil resides here. This paranormal explorer is about to greet it. Ricky Velasquez seems to sense this reputed evil early on. He then senses this hiding under a bench. While outside the structure, he hears a hushed whining or whimpering. Shortly after, he hears what sounds like a bottle being kicked. Back inside, he senses something in his presence again, and then on an upper floor, this unexplained sound. Is evil still lingering? Ricky isn't the only one who can feel it. An Urbex YouTuber called RNK All Day is exploring a creepy building that used to be a funeral home before it was abandoned. The funeral home is not haunted per se, at least not from what I can tell, but what they find is every bit as scary as any ghost video you'll ever watch. You see, a long time ago, this North Carolina establishment was shut down because of improper business operations. People were not notified about their loved ones in a timely fashion, and the remains were often not stored properly at all. As RNK All Day explores the abandoned building, he finds evidence of their misdeeds laying out in the open. Sitting in a battered cupboard box on an old altar is a discarded plastic bag full of what appears to be ashes. There's no way to tell if these are the ashes of someone until you look at the box. That definitely says cremation services. If this is what we think it is, which I think it almost definitely is, then they should be properly placed in an urn, not out in the open like this. And if there are more items like this lying around, then maybe this building is haunted after all. You may remember me talking about D-Menace in a previous video, but I wanted to give this video a further analysis. To describe D-Menace in short terms, the best would probably be Adrenaline Junkie. First appearing on YouTube in 2018, he has posted a variety of videos from conducting one-breath dives to venturing deep into tight caves. His videos are not for the faint of heart and can distress people with the feats he conducts. He has also posted several urban exploration videos. In June 2020, D ventured into an abandoned malt factory complex with several buildings to explore. All alone, he traveled through the dark and derelict halls. For the first half of the video, nothing particularly strange happens. D ventures through the various passages and even into the basement, finding strange and even beautiful graffiti on the walls. As he approaches the stairs to the basement, he feels apprehension as, in his words, the walls and ceiling begin to resemble the altered state of Silent Hill when it transitions to Otherworld.
I think I reached a really dangerous and scary part here because it's starting to feel and look exactly like in Silent Hill.
After some time, he decides to continue down the depths. Here, he finds a red bed or chair, something that gives him the creeps. Written on it in German is, "Raise your legs and chill." He continues to explore the basement, but is in a constant state of discomfort from the darkness, and his mind playing tricks on him. Therefore, he decides to head back upstairs. He then states part of what creeps him out about this place is the lack of wildlife residing in the building. Unlike other places he's explored, he hasn't seen a single bird or rodent since arriving. As he makes his way into the second part of the complex, he begins to feel more anxious, hearing noises around him. He admits he is unaware if it is because he is simply spooked, or if there's another person inside with him. Not long after making this statement, D discovers he is, in fact, not alone in the complex. As he is showing the view out the window, a man suddenly and casually walks out from the trees. Completely oblivious, D sees and is recording him. The man walks calmly to the same building D is in, but D is clearly nervous and says he hopes the man does not have ill intent. He then hears the man speaking, but it is unknown to whom. After, D becomes quiet, listening and acting increasingly anxious. Soon he enters a similar room to where he first saw the man walking up and is startled to see a pair of legs on the other side of a hole in the wall. He quickly quiets down and kneels, but realizes the man must have heard him as the legs retreat in the opposite direction. Realizing the risk of this situation, he decides to try and exit the building. However, as he approaches a corner, the man emerges and pushes D to the ground. After some exchanged words, the two men calmed down and discover it was a simple misunderstanding. The other individual, named Jonathan, is just another urban explorer who is also unsure of Dee's intentions. Luckily this time, for both men, neither were there for anything bad, and were just wanting to check the place out. Dee's video is a wake-up call for anyone intending to do their own exploration or even ghost hunts. Abandoned buildings pose all sorts of hazards, mostly from the decaying condition of the structures posing physical hazards. What is often overlooked is the possibilities of others in the building who could potentially be living there or committing unsavory deeds away from prying eyes. Both Dee and Jonathan were justified in their suspicion of each other, and on this occasion were able to laugh it off and even continue to explore the building together. It is likely this made the adventure safe, as the two would now be able to look out for one another in case an accident occurred. It goes as a reminder to how the paranormal is not the only thing to be afraid of on these tours. Dee was definitely thanking his lucky stars he stumbled across Jonathan, as both explorers decided to head into the basement, as Dee felt it was better to have company. Down there they find spray cans, a piece of a bicycle body, and a package. However, down a deep corridor, Dee finds a bone. While it could be misinterpreted for human, Jonathan points out it doesn't appear to be. On analysis, it more so resembles one someone would give their dog to chew on. Regardless, Dee decides to leave the bone there. Certainly an adrenaline-inducing adventure this time, and thankfully Dee made a new friend to explore with. Still goes to show how careful one must be about the place they explore, as well as who might be in it. This now abandoned estate is a remnant of the Russian Empire, and it's believed to be haunted. YouTuber Dmitry Blackdad attempts to spend the night here. Will he make it out alive?
Все очень плохо по ощущениям, потому что у меня чувство, что у меня очень сердце болит. Без всяких приколов.
He feels sick already upon entering. It seems that something evil lies within.
Без всяких шуток, ребят. Без всякого преувеличения. У меня сейчас мандраж идет.
His fear escalates from there.
Что за звук сейчас был?
Although Dmitry doesn't see anything jump scary, you can feel his fear within you as he walks this historic estate.
Не обращайте внимания на то, как я дышу, потому что мне тяжело дышать.
I can barely breathe too. This is one terrifying tour I wouldn't want to take alone in the dark. Urban explorers Stacy and Cliff are exploring the abandoned Bryce Hospital, an Alabama asylum that is haunted as can be. Little do they know a shadow person is following them all the while and can be seen caught on video multiple times. When they first enter the building, a paranormal presence compels Stacy to not only look to her left, but to call out as well.
Hello?
A partially hidden shadow figure stands in the doorway. As soon as she says hello, the screen blurs like movement is near. She feels the need to look again, but this time the mysterious shadow figure is gone. On a different floor, they see a strange passing shadow move across the doorway, though this bizarre movement could simply be a trick of the light and not necessarily paranormal. With that said, a few minutes later is when they see the shadow figure one final time, a ghost in the doorway watching them without a word, and as Stacy turns around, the shadowy figure smooths out and mysteriously disappears. They finish exploring the hospital without another mysterious figure sighting. A paranormal investigator named Jeff Stetik's world walks into an abandoned house through a door that was kicked open long ago. An old woman once lived here, and all of her possessions are still inside, mostly various clothing items and trinkets, and quite a few photos. He is looking at 2 black and white pictures of a boy, perhaps a grandchild or a son, when he hears a faint sound coming from further down the hall. He detects nothing with his untrained eye, but as his camera adjusts to the darkness, it does pick up a small outline pressed up against the wall. Perhaps the very same boy in the pictures he was just observing. All of this escapes him as he calmly exits, completely unaware of the boy cloaked darkness just 1 room away. One of the last things you'd wish to stumble across on an urban exploration is a coffin. YouTube team Review de Terre 2.0 shares this video of their chilling discovery on an exploration of an abandoned building. As they wander, mysterious things happen.
Voilà, portez sur le toucher. Ta mère quoi? Voilà, sur le toucher. Non. Voilà, je l'ai pas touché. Quoi? Arrête.
Is someone in the building with them? Then they come across this creepy but amazing bit of sculpture outside.
Wesh. Je croyais que c'était notre cerveau, il jouait nos Mais c'est le crâne à mort dans Dofus. Les gars, je me dis bien.
It becomes clear that something is watching them, and shortly after, it becomes even clearer. It turns out to be a friend, so there's one mystery solved, but this is perhaps their most startling discovery.
Oh, il y a encore la tête cachée là.
I'm not sure if that's a coffin, but it's hard telling what it could be otherwise. I know I wouldn't want to try it on for size. Bogdan Riva of a Russian YouTube channel called Lost World has become obsessed with exploring an abandoned haunted apartment building. Paranormal activity here is hard to catch for a person, so he sets up cameras to see what scary stuff is caught on video. While he's in his car, one of his cameras picks up footsteps in a room with a creepy doll. Whether this doll is related to the paranormal activity is unknown, but I wouldn't be surprised if there was a correlation between the two, because just look at the scary thing.
Еще прошло около 2 часов, и так ничего и не происходит, ничего необычного. Единственное, какие-то непонятные шумы, какие-то непонятные звуки.
He returns to the house and, not knowing what he's caught on tape, declares this paranormal investigation to be a failure. He goes into the next room only to find a large, heavy shelf has been thrown to the ground by an angry poltergeist. The sight fills him with dread, but it isn't until a few seconds later that he sees something over his shoulder that makes him run with fear.
Go there.
I can't say I see anything here at 18 minutes, and maybe he doesn't either. It could have been a bad feeling more than anything that made him run. All I know is that I agree this house is beyond creepy, and he should get out of there. Anything that throws a shelf could easily do the same to him. While exploring the abandoned Davutlu village, the YouTube crew from Han Kardisler find they're not alone. One woman comes out of the woodwork.
Oy. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Lazım Rabbine ismike nasıl bir şey nasıl olsa. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Oğlum biliyor yanında.
The woman leads them to this strange dark figure hiding behind a corner, but the figure disappears as they approach.
Sen ne yapıyorsun burada ya?
Ben her yerde geziyorum.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Oğlum. Ne oluyor lan?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
It then reappears in the downstairs window. The mysterious figure appears only as a form, a shadow if you will. While the crazy woman tells the crew something, her silent husband stands by with his back to the camera. The figure has again vanished from sight.
Abi ne oluyor?
Benim sevgilim gel buraya.
Şaka mı bu? Baksana adama baksana kanka. Çok tuhaf stres. Oğlum bu kafayı yemek şu an. Oh gidiyor.
And then the woman appears to go nuts, shooing them off and even throwing stuff at them.
Ay çok gidin yeter. Hadi.
Abi bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Vallahi.
Yeter peşimden gidin. Gelmeyin artık.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Wow, adam dışarı çıktı.
After being chased around, they later see the figure in the window again.
Bayram. Orada duruyoruz. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Bayram bu ne böyle ya? Kafayı yiyeceğim. Abi.
But it's not any clearer what the figure is. I have no clue what this entity may be, but it seems to me that this old woman might be protecting it from outsiders. I'm not so sure it needs her protection though. At this abandoned psychiatric hospital, YouTuber Alberto Del Arco and his team are being watched.
Vete a la mierda, güey. ¿Oyeron? ¡Ey! Cabrón. ¿Quién anda ahí?
But what they're being watched by, they're not so sure. As they continue, something is thrown at them.
Como una monja enorme.
Oh, no madre.
Ve, algo arriba cayó. Algo arriba. ¿Te pegó a ti? Sí, cayó de arriba, güey. Cayó de arriba.
Did it fall, or was it thrown? It looked like it was thrown to me. As they continue through the place, they hear an EVP, and they see a shadow.
Hey.
Silencio.
Hey, busca allá, güey. No vayan a salirnos por allá, güey.
Escuchemos.
Later, they hear something more.
Otra vez, de allá.
Apágale. Hey.
It sounded to me like someone crying out in the darkness. Is there someone living in this horrid place? Or is this a cry of pain from the beyond? I don't know for sure, but this place ultimately feels haunting. Is this abandoned farmhouse haunted? That's what YouTube crew, Is It Haunted, is here to find out.
Tonight, me and Becky are on our own, and we're in this like mega old farmhouse out.
Yeah.
It's pretty empty, pretty void of any belongings or anything like that, but it's very, very...
They get responses on a spirit box and other EVPs.
Come to talk to any spirit energy tonight.
Then a ball moves at the top of the stairs, followed by a tapping noise.
Yeah, it's definitely got the heebie-jeebie feel of.
What?
Oh no.
During another spirit box session, they receive an evil message. Then they capture a series of noises upstairs.
You want Becky to go upstairs?
So is this farmhouse haunted? I think they got their answer. Is it wind, or is someone home? YouTuber Adam Mark Explores was exploring an abandoned home when something began sounding against the door of this room. Listen closely. He approaches the door to open it.
Hello?
There's absolutely no one inside.
nobody there.
Although you might think it was just a breeze, watch the door handle again closely. It does look like the handle moves slightly, so I'm going to rule out the wind. Is this the spirit of the home's former owner, Elizabeth Hopkins? Whether it's Elizabeth or not, I do think evil resides here. Something is angry in this haunted psych ward. YouTuber The Paranormal Patch enters the abandoned Arthur Brisbane Child Treatment Center solo. As she enters the gymnasium, several unknown sounds are heard, but it's unclear where they're coming from. The urban explorer doesn't seem too frightened as she continues through the building. More strange noises resound. Still, she continues on, and the sounds keep coming. From where, though? It's hard to tell. This place is undoubtedly haunted. Here's more proof.
Why did it move as soon as I came close to it? Can someone explain that to me?
And a bit more. When you have 5 doors slam on you right in a row, I think the spirits are giving you a clear message. It's time to leave, and that's exactly what she does. This is one of the craziest urban explorations I've ever seen. In my opinion, it's impossible that this place isn't haunted. Don't leave your fun up to an app. It might take you on a journey to your demise. Published to TikTok by Stephen Donovan. He explains that he was using the Randonautica app to direct him on a random adventure. For those who are unfamiliar with Randonautica, the app delivers a set of local coordinates supplied by a quantum random number generator. In doing so, users are encouraged to explore the unexpected. Stephen's coordinates certainly delivered. Here's what happened. Randonautica sent these two on a dirt road through an abandoned ghost town. Creepy mannequins are standing in the windows of the empty wooden buildings. The mountain roads take them past empty cars parked on the shoulder. However, no one appears to be in the area. They pass a sign that reads private property, but they ignore it and continue up the steep, narrow road. It's getting dark and they are now on foot. The pin is pulled up and they are getting close to their destination. That's when they see it.
We had the pin pulled up, we were so close to it, and this happened. I don't know how to explain this.
Something rolls down the hill from a broken structure, and in that structure they see what looks like a melted face. They take this as their cue to leave. TikToker Rachel Chun surmises, watch those cars be the ones left behind by the randonauts that never left. Steven notes that he deleted the app after this misadventure. After this, can you blame him? South Korean ghost hunter Yang Ma-hee is exploring an old abandoned haunted house for evidence of the paranormal. What he's caught on tape is up for debate, so let's get right to it. Tell me if you hear a footstep after he finishes his sentence.
계세요? 누구 계세요?
All of the rooms look completely ripped apart, and yet nothing has been taken. Drawers and shelves are overturned, but clothing and personal items remain largely untouched. It looks like the work of poltergeist activity to me, not thieves. A particularly angry poltergeist at that. But perhaps the scariest part of all is this EVP of a man's voice that completely overlaps his own when he touches the old owner's shoe.
이거 화장실이다.
That does not sound like a house settling or anything like that. It's definitely vocal cords. The ghostly voice of someone who is with us in spirit alone. Final analysis? Yeah, this video is about as paranormal as it gets. In wandering around this abandoned building, strange apparitions appear everywhere. Published by Clip Hantu, this scary video is like the Where's Waldo of creepy figures. See if you can spot them all. Notice this thing on the ledge wasn't there a moment before. It looks like a head of hair or a wig. In the next room, you see a dark figure in the corner. As the camera swings back, it's disappeared. And with the flashlight turned on, you can see the room is completely empty. In a kitchen area, there's a pot on the counter at first. Now there seems to be a split in the clip, but the next time we see the same counter, the creepy object has replaced it. That thing looks like a shrunken head. Have these items been placed? Or is this the world's worst treasure hunt? The first and third items do look to me like they were placed. There is a cut in the video in each of these instances, but that shadow figure, that's harder to explain. Makes me think this place is truly haunted after all. Abandoned prisons lock up the souls of true evil forever. YouTuber Jade of Ghost Club Paranormal teams up with Hollywood paranormal detectives to investigate the Nevada State Prison. As the crew rounds a corner, they immediately feel frightened.
That wasn't the door.
Maybe there's something following us.
When they enter death row, a voice can be heard on one of their cameras.
Fuck you. I live in.
What?
That's too creepy. Here it is again. As they continue through the prison, they pick up more EVPs.
Right.
Did you hear?
Yes.
And a moment later, this happens.
I couldn't tell where it was, but it was very muffled.
It almost said. It almost said. It almost.
Although the team says this is a disembodied voice, it sounds like a doll's voice to me. A moment later, their REM pod device goes off and they capture yet another EVP.
Good.
I wonder who Archibald is. There seems to be plenty of activity in this prison, so I have no doubt that whoever he is, he's still here. Ready to explore one of Ohio's most dangerous abandoned places? Neither am I. Let's leave it up to Urbex Dane, who published this urban exploration of Elderwood in August of 2017. According to Dane, this street is one of the most dangerous areas in this half-abandoned city. Willing to take the risk, he entered an empty building on the creepy abandoned Cleveland Street. While inside, a truck pulls up. The truck starts beeping and is playing music loudly. Still, Urbex continues exploring but peers out a second-story window to see who's there. It's not clear what this dude's purpose is. And that strangeness is turned up a notch when a group enters as Dane continues through the home. Unsure of what to do, he waits. Are these just more urban explorers? Or is something more nefarious going on? He creeps out into the hall, which is empty, as is the stairwell, and yet he doesn't leave. Instead, he heads upstairs. Down another stairwell, he hears this. That's where his battery runs out. Don't worry, he survived, but he doesn't know what was going on or who these strangers were. Many are noting in the comments that this could very well have been dangerous, and he was lucky he got out of there alive. An unidentified flying object is reputed to have landed at this abandoned church, and YouTuber Luan Mendez is here with his team to investigate. The team finds a cross lying randomly in the grass.
Olha o tamanho dessa cruz aqui, irmão. Agora que eu vi. Olha aqui o tamanho da cruz.
Ah, pega. Derrubaram ela.
And inside they find a burn pit that looks like someone or something camped out in here.
Passar uma noite. Ó, pra você ver, fizeram fogueira aqui, ó. Fizeram fogueira. Ó a cruz, quebraram a cruz aqui, ó.
One of the team alerts Luan to some lights outside. When he goes out to check, beams of light are spotted in the distance.
Aonde, Papa Capim? Papa Capim, apaga a sua luz, mano. Pode apagar, vamos ficar no escuro, irmão. Porque senão vai sumir. Oxi! Oi, Papa Capim, sai daí, Papa Capim! Sai daí, Papa Capim!
And then it just disappears. Are the extraterrestrials watching? It makes me wonder.
Ó, se vê alguma luz, você apaga. Apaga a luz, bater aquela lá. Apaga, apaga, apaga. Meu Deus do céu, olha lá. Olha lá. Vem, vem, vem. Vem, vem. Vem.
And it also makes me wonder why this place has been deemed so important by the extraterrestrials that they seem to be monitoring it. Is it a spiritual site for them too? Only the extraterrestrials know for sure. A YouTube explorer named Adventures with Josh tracks what he later describes as a strange creature sighted while exploring an abandoned house in the middle of some rather scary woods at night. The structure he finds is no bigger than a doghouse and is empty upon investigation, but when he turns around and looks up, he sees it, and it sees him.
What is it? That thing is freaky. Hello?
A mysterious creature with glowing white eyes stares down without a word. I know it's a creature and not someone wearing night vision goggles, because the glowing blank eyes blink multiple times.
I can't even tell what animal that is. No, it doesn't look like a possum.
A possum was my next guess, but apparently the eyes are too far apart for it to be one. The brow resembles a human more than an animal. I don't know what this strange creature sighting is, but it does seem to be waiting for him to leave, so it can go back to its creepy abandoned home in the middle of the woods. A beautiful home built in 1934 turned ugly when in 2009, the real estate mogul who bought the home took his wife's life, claiming the woman went missing on a hike. A search began for his wife but turned up nothing. A year later, the man put a new addition on his home that raised enough suspicion for police to request a search warrant. They found the wife buried beneath the home. The man was given more than 20 years behind bars, and the house remains abandoned. Published by Dark Exploration Films, this walkthrough of the home is incredibly disturbing. Taking viewers through the grounds and inside the home, the explorer comes upon the hole in which the woman was buried.
Let's go into the room that everybody wants to see. So this room was added in 2009. And once the police found out about this construction, they were a little skeptical.
Many in the comments are bewildered that anyone could live in the home they buried their wife in without getting telltale-hearted to the point of insanity. Others feel a sense of darkness and foreboding and even a feeling of sadness there. Surely the woman's spirit remains. TF141 Ghost goes exploring an abandoned house, one he found on a secret blog about haunted locations in his hometown. He walks slowly across a rotting floor that can barely support his weight. and apparently the floor isn't the only thing left rotting in this house.
As you can see, I mean, it's definitely abandoned. It's been abandoned for, I would say, quite some time now. Give you the grand tour of the kitchen. The tour of the abandoned house. It's kind of creepy in here, I'm gonna be honest. Check out this little door. I was really hoping I'd find something. I have no idea what the that is, so I'm not gonna touch that.
This mysterious object has been delicately wrapped in some kind of deli paper and left hanging. I have no idea what this is, but I'm afraid that it was once attached to someone.
I totally forgot there's an upstairs. Oh, these are rickety stairs. It's about 20 degrees. It's kind of weird. Oh, and what's over here? There is a Bible. There's a Bible next to about 100 toys.
The way the book is facing the camera is creepy, like it was left there on purpose, perhaps to guard against some evil in this room. Maybe an exorcism on someone possessed by a demon took place here. With that in mind, what he does next is very questionable indeed.
I'm gonna grab this Bible and take it with me, because I might need it on the way out. Alright, time to go. I'm just gonna leave this here. That's really...
Hopefully, removing the book didn't freeze something from that attic space. Besides that, I wouldn't want to touch anything that was possibly used during an exorcism anyway. And on top of that, discarding the book without a care seems like really bad luck to begin with. Oh, and one more thing. More bad news, of course. I think there may have been more clues in this hole at the top of the stairs. But what was hiding in there could not have been good. I think I might even see a face. Mornhill Camp served as a transit point for troops on the Western Front during World War I. The YouTube team Ghost Theory investigates this haunted officer's house. A Steadicam that they set up in one of the rooms starts to move. You can also hear strange, unexplained noises in the background.
You open this door? This is...
Then later they capture a man's scream.
There's clicking.
One viewer also points out this strange mist or dust that seems to shift across the room.
We have so many questions. And we've heard you before, so we know that you're here and you can do this.
Is the officer lurking about? I believe that's his scream, and I don't know if I want to know what caused it. Jump in the DeLorean and go back to this 90s home stuck in time. YouTuber Ranger Rick TV visits the abandoned place where a homeowner passed away, leaving everything behind. The calendar is left on the date she passed away.
And we have a calendar date, so this tells me that whoever last passed away in this house was on April 1992.
Behind the wall of one room lies a mystery, unsolved.
Makes me really curious about this wall right here. Let me light it up so you can see what I'm seeing. It looks like this was part of, well, this is the wall right here, but why do they have this little cutout right here? Something makes me think.
The main bedroom is left in disarray.
And then we walk into this room right here.
But the room where the homeowner passed away has been left untouched, and for good reason.
This is probably my favorite room in the whole house, for obvious reasons. Just because it's like the main room. I already told you the backstory on this place, and yep, this is where the lady passed away.
The poor woman likely passed away alone, and her body wasn't discovered for a long time. Such a sad story, and one I won't be able to forget for a long time coming. Anyone who lives in this house is told by local villagers to leave it. YouTube channel 01 Supernatural Studio writes, "It is said that nothing happened to this house itself, but for some reason, after the original owner moved out, he could not rent it, and in the end it was left to be abandoned here. Let's see why." Upon entering, he finds an N95 mask hanging from a hanger.
然后这里竟然还亮着一个 N95 的口罩。
The house is abandoned, but the reason why is not yet clear.
这样子，你们多少都知道，这个屋子某方面听起来就好像有问题，对不对？然后你看，还有这个合适。
In another room, he finds children's bicycles and a grain dryer.
真的，那脚踏车。 哇，干豆机耶！这个是以前晒谷物用的吗？
And in a corner, a rice threshing machine.
啊，对了，那个干燥机应该是谷物用的，这是打稻机吧？好。
He gets an EMF reading on the second floor.
磁场，2楼的磁场比刚刚1楼还要来得乱哈，这也是。 意料之中的事情。
He asks for the spirits of the place to show some energy, and they respond.
灵体的存在呢，若有的话，请给我一些能量上的反应好吗？有。有。
This room on the second floor is in complete disarray.
这个地方因为有这个棉被，所以说我不太想踩过去，因为我前一阵子才被跳蚤咬。 但桌上还有那种红色的拜神用的蜡烛然后床。
Suddenly, the light on his camera goes out.
怎么回事？我的灯怎么突然熄掉了？只有3红外线热显像，你可以看。我灯自己突然熄掉了。
He asks a series of questions and receives immediate responses.
刚刚关机了，不好意思。 那我再想请教一下，他某方面来讲，是不是被你们牵走了呢？
He seems to have gotten the answers he was looking for. This place does look disturbing to me, but does that mean it's haunted? It seems you have to be there to know for sure. According to the YouTube team, Causa Sobrenatural, they've never been more afraid in their lives than on this night. As they enter this abandoned home, they hear steps coming up the stairs.
Tá só gravando. Escutou? Subir a escada aqui, sabe? Vou até a porta subir a escada.
The team investigates further, and that's when they hear this.
Ah, tomando teu c... Vou guardar aí, cara. Você escutou isso? Eu me encontrei. Meu Deus do céu. Ela cantarolou lá em cima.
What was that? It sounds like either a human voice or an instrument to me, but whose? I understand why this would strike fear in the team. Something is present, and it's uncertain whether or not it's even human. If I were there, I'd be getting out of this home ASAP. What would you do if you ran into a massive python and the paranormal all in one night? Published to YouTube in June of 2020 by Catch 'em All Fishing. That's exactly what happened to this explorer as he trapezed through the ramshackle underground city. In fact, Zach seems to have gone here specifically to look for snakes. The abandoned place is, in and of itself, creepy enough. He keeps shouting hello as he begins his journey, and his echo rings eerily throughout the enormous space. The dark, damp place seems like the perfect breeding ground for snakes. At one point, around 4 minutes and 15 seconds, Zach appears to capture the beam of a flashlight bouncing off a distant wall. He also hears voices. He may not be alone down here. He rushes over to see who else is there, but he says the voices have stopped. Then he hears the haunted voices again. It's more like a moaning, which is made even more terrifying by the echo. Then at 5 minutes and 53 seconds, Zach abruptly turns to a doorway, seeming to sense something there, and it appears that something is there. If you watch in slow-mo, an obscure figure is standing in the darkness of the opposite room. Although he got the heck out of there, Zach's night didn't end there. As he's driving home, he crosses paths with what he'd been looking for all along, a snake. Zach chases down an enormous python. He manages to grab it by the tail while the snake tries to bury its head in the sand. He grips the snake near its head and shows the audience its fangs as the python starts to wrap its thick body around his arm. I think this is exactly why you should never grab a python. Zach tries to release the snake into a bag and does manage to collect him and zip him inside without getting tagged. Between encountering what may have been the paranormal in the underground city and prying this python from his arm, one thing's for sure, this dude has nerves of steel. YouTuber Memoria Sobrenatural INC believes they were guided to this location by something paranormal, and maybe that's true, but it doesn't seem to want to let him in.
Opa! Cara, que é isso, mano? Cara, que é isso?
At first, it seems like something might just be pushed up against the door blocking it, but then you see movement. Watch the crack in the doorway.
Olha isso, cara. Dá uma olhada.
Whatever's inside doesn't seem human.
Cara, você é louco? Eu juro que eu achei que eu tinha visto o demônio aqui agora, na hora que eu fui abrir a porta. Cara, meu coração foi a mil aqui, ó. Bom, pessoal, eu acho que...
Phew, it's just a bull. Or is it? I think this horned beast is more demon than it appears. A YouTuber named IN7 and a large group of friends decide to investigate an abandoned home for some possible paranormal activity. They didn't find anything that strange on the first floor, aside from some mattresses, so they decide to go up a flight of rickety steps that looks far from safe.
You got a marker? Okay. Say mobs.
Some laughter stops them in their tracks. They start to run, but then find confidence in numbers and decide to keep going anyway. When they get to the top floor, they find more mattresses. One of the mattresses has a human-looking figure on it with black sheets pulled above the head. Suddenly, some other kids rejoin the group to warn them of more people.
I did people upset.
They hear laughter again and bolt down the steps, out of the house. The laughter sounds distant yet somehow all around them. If it's not editing, then it's definitely paranormal. The group will never know if the person laying on the mattress was just sleeping or not alive. They could have stumbled upon some ritual sacrifice for all we know. While in communication with a ghost that haunts this house, YouTuber Chamos was met with some paranormal activity. The house itself looks totally creepy. Is something inside? They head in to find out and are not warmly welcomed.
Cara, a gente sentiu aquele cheiro, aquele odor de fezes aqui, né? Ei, tem alguém aí? Tem gente aí, velho. Opa!
Something was thrown at them. They continue on anyway and quickly get a reading on their K2 meter.
Pra conversar, continuar aquela nossa conversa. Não precisa jogar isso aí pode acabar machucando a gente.
Ou ele quer machucar a gente, velho. É, a intenção dele.
But it's only later that the demon gives the team some answers over the spirit box.
Tô com um pouco de raiva.
Ah, entendi. Por isso que você tá atacando.
And a moment later, this happens.
O céu, velho.
Cara do céu, caiu.
Um estouro atrás de ti, velho.
Oi, eu vou dizer uma coisa pra vocês, parece que eu vi um vulto ali em cima, cara.
Meu Deus, chama.
Oi, eu juro, parece que eu vi um vulto. Oh, olha aí, Jefio. Cara do céu, velho.
Is the demon right behind them? It sure seems like it.
Já sei, sim, ele falou sim, já sei quem é você. Olha, Jefio. Oh, meu Deus, cara. Isso, velho. Cara do céu, velho. Machucou.
It looks to me that the demon is more than a little angry. If it's resorted to throwing whole branches at people, I suggest it should take an anger management class. 3 friends know of a haunted abandoned place in Egypt that needs exploring. Little do they know how wrong their paranormal investigation will have gone by the end of that night. Fresh writing on the wall that gives them pause. It might be a warning of sorts or maybe a puzzle. They spend quite some time trying to figure it out and never manage to. What does it say? That's when they think they hear something upstairs, something that can mimic their movements. They go upstairs to confront it and hear a noise at the bottom of the steps where they just were. As they turn around, there's a wall full of handprints marking where people were trying to get away from something. At the bottom are 2 floating white eyes. They are checking out more red handprints when their paranormal investigation somehow gets even creepier. A jinn's figure fills the doorway on the top floor. They run down the steps fast, and seconds later, the slow-moving figure somehow passes by them again. Well, they are looking up where it was last spotted. With a flip of his scarf, the bravest of all sets forth to the exit and is almost touched. Here is a still image of the jinn's face taken at 9 minutes and 46 seconds. I think it might be a mask, but what if it's really a weird misshapen face? They say this is real. Should we believe them? When YouTuber Connor from The Explorer returns to the abandoned House of Nightmares, he realizes he's not alone. He approaches the home at around 2 a.m., and as he approaches this room, he's in for it.
Trailer off the film. Hello? Hello?
Is someone there? After legging it out of there, he pauses to catch his breath.
What's going on? What the What the
And shortly after, he hears a strange noise.
I'm literally gonna have to just go down there. If there's someone here, then this place is horrible.
He has to go back in order to leave the house, and that's when this happens.
Holy oh my, that was so...
After leaving the place, he re-enters but doesn't find anyone. What I want to know is how. How did he have the guts to re-enter this clearly haunted place? Just how? While exploring an abandoned place, this paranormal crew found a demonic doll. What followed next was shocking. Published by Toppy in December of 2021, Sergey takes this rickety staircase into the attic, where he finds this creepy doll. After handing the doll to Nastya, they decide to take it with them. Sergey says they sat in the haunted home for 15 minutes and heard noises that were unfortunately not recorded. It's unclear if their cameras malfunctioned or what went on, but they have decided to try and communicate with the spirits through the doll. After the doll tells them let's play, the pair decide to pack it up and head home. But before they do, this happens. Is this doll truly possessed, or was it just exorcised of its demons? Published by LANH-TV New in March of 2022, and originally published by Knob Team Explore, this scary video reveals that the real haunting happens just out of sight. As the cameraman walks us through an abandoned structure, he rounds a corner, where two bright lights are spotted blinking in the dark distance of the surrounding forest. What are they? He whistles and walks toward them. But before we can get to the bottom of that mystery, something starts rattling off to the left. The cameraman turns in the sound's direction, and he starts to approach the rattling. Rounding another corner, he finds that this door is the culprit. He calls out and then runs away.
Assalamualaikum.
Turning around, he captures this hanging from the rafters. It appears to be a small pair of legs. The rest of the figure's body remains out of sight. When he turns around and casts the camera back, the figure is no longer there. What is this horror? Something that's gonna stay with me for a long time, that's for sure. A YouTuber called Bangladesh Ghost Hunter, together with his trusty dog Thomas, go exploring abandoned houses and other fabled haunted places deep in the woods. One of their freakier finds takes place at night deep in the woods, where scary things are caught on camera, beginning with a scream.
এবং আপনারা ওয়েট এই জন্য কিন্তু থমাস কোথায় দেখো তো।
As they strain into the darkness, a large number of weird things are caught on camera that deserve further analysis.
ওখানে কিছু আছে, ঠিক আছে, এই জন্য কিন্তু থমাস কোথায় দেখো তো ছিল, মানে হা করে সেই ধোয়াগুলো খাচ্ছিল। Thomas.
Watch this part beginning at 5 minutes and 39 seconds and see how much paranormal activity you can see in 15 seconds.
যখন আলাদা করতে চেয়েছিল, তো তখন কিন্তু আমি কাছে ছিলাম, তখন আর কি পরিস্থিতি হয়েছিল সেটা যদি একটু বল।
Okay, at 5 minutes and 40 seconds, a strange yellow orb glances across the camera and goes away. 2 seconds later, he turns his head as this pink aura is caught on camera that may or may not be the cameraman's finger, but in that moment, a strange wispy mist rains down on him that he can't see. 20 minutes and 40 seconds is when they finally see it. A form between two trees in the shape of a person. The flashlight chances upon it for but a brief moment and then it's gone. But it's still there watching them, of that I am sure. Anthony lives around a bunch of abandoned farmland that he has always wanted to explore. So he takes his camera and spends the whole day poking around. He doesn't know anything about the history of this land or why it was abandoned, but the more he discovers, the less alone he feels.
There's a bed in here.
Hello?
The buildings are all single-story structures in various states of decay, and each one is somehow distinctly lonesome in its own way. By the time he comes across the main house, He is very jumpy and senses eyes on him from afar. Tell me if you hear whispering during this part when he opens the door. I guess it could just be the creaky springs of an old screen door or something, but it really does sound like it could be voices. Anyway, the inside of the house is pretty well kept, especially compared to the other buildings, yet the unrelenting unholy aura only grows stronger with each step he takes. At one point, an abandoned nursery room literally makes Anthony nauseous. Surely something bad must have happened here.
This was a kid's room, and I feel so uneasy, I feel dizzy.
Anthony manages to check out the rest of the house, even the basement, without incident. He's ready to leave altogether, but there's just one final surprise left for him on the way out.
What the f was that? Something literally kicked the door.
The door abruptly closes with a short and impolite slam, the exact kind that homeowners use when they are upset with someone for being at their door. I don't think Anthony shut the door by himself because he was out of arm's reach when it happened, and maybe it's just me, but I think I can see some kind of shadowy mist in the window on the right. Coincidentally, in the same room he was just in,